So here we got original S4 alternator. I think this is good for 70 amps. Here we got the new one. This is set up for an FD, so we'll have to do some wiring stuff. But you can see here's our breakout on this. Pushing 90 to 118 amps. So we come with this dual belt pulley. Got this from Banzai Racing. So we'll have to pull off this bolt, get this sucker on there. And watch this with the alternator. Fun fact, things sometimes are as simple as it seems like they could be. Just gotta squeeze it good. So here's what we're gonna be doing. We go to this one. So it should drop on. And we'll just put this sucker back on there. Here's the thing. That 24 doesn't fit in on the pulley right here, so we can't get that sucker down inside it. So I was thinking, I'm looking at the stock one, I might take that off and see if that's the same type or same thread pitch, because the stock bolt is a 22 and it does look like a 22 will fit inside of the new pulley. Okay, so we got this set up off. Now I don't know if I still need this freaking lock washer. It's a little odd, but just see if that threads here. It's very possible that shaft is just a different diameter. Oh my God, one sec. And unfortunately, it is different. Now the interesting part of this is, like, this pulley, for instance, won't fit on this. It'll have slop. I mean, that is a pretty tight clearance around there, and I don't have any sockets that are thin that can fit down there. So that kind of sucks. All right, I was able to find a socket that fit in here. You go to old Lowe's, get a freaking Craftsman like 24 deep, but it fits down in there. So get this on the car, we'll get our belts run. All right, I'll go ahead and get our 7315 belts on there. That's Gates 7315. Slap those suckers on there, tighten everything back up. Get back here. Where the heck is the bolt for that sucker? Okay. Okay, so let me show you guys something. Just another little tidbit fact for you. This is the upper hole in the stock alternator, and you can see it's threaded, because I'm over here looking for a nut, right? I'm like, where is this nut? Well, that's threaded, but if you go over here to the FD one, see if you can see there, it is smooth. So I also have officially run out of nuts and bolts that make sense, and I don't want to start putting like Imperial stuff on a metric car. So I think that's gonna be it for tonight. Probably have to work tomorrow. I'll grab some new hardware, that way I can get that on there and not have a bunch of random things hooked on. But we're getting closer. We're getting closer. In the meantime, went ahead and did some wiring, right? So I've got my temp probe. I made it so that's detachable, so I can plug it into the relay here. We got the fan. We've also got a plug. We just got to finish up the fan wiring and finish up that power in. But other than that, you can see over here, we've gone ahead and pre-cut the rest of the harness, so that comes off. You see that right there. That comes off. We've got a connector all set up, good to go. So we'll just get the rest of the harness finished up here. I'm gonna be honest, like, I don't really feel like showing wiring stuff, because basically I'm just following directions that comes with the relays and everything. And I feel like just sitting there showing you guys all this time and me just crimping wires is just super boring. So I didn't really include that in it. It does have to happen. I still got to finish that stuff up and run it to some other places. But yeah, I just didn't feel like including the wiring. I will give you a tidbit here. This is a switched power. I'm using this from my underglow. So that's what we're going to tap into. And Once we get over here and we start doing the alternator stuff, I will show that wiring just because it's specific when you're going to a different chassis setup. So we will do that one. But other than that, the rest of this stuff, we're just going to clean it up. We got these connectors. We're using pins, which is like the first time using pins. I'm not a pro at this, but it feels good making it so that I can unhook all this. I'll already say this. I already want to do it again, and I have another relay, so I could do it. But the one thing I didn't like is I separated out like the fan and power wire, and I separated out the chassis wires, and then I separated out the probe wire into like, so I have 3 groups. Kind of wish I had just cut them and then just started a harness and just made a harness out of that instead of having 3 groups, because this relay is gonna most likely be exposed to water. And right here, I'll show you. See up here at the top, there's like no way to get this all in correctly, and I feel like that just looks like garbage, and I don't know, not happy with it. It'll absolutely be functional until it gets soaked, but I don't know if I can prevent it from being soaked. So I do have a spare relay. I might just go ahead and do that and switch it up so that I have like a straight up harness. It won't affect any of the connections I've already made because that'll all plug in, but more to come on that. Okay, so with the alternator out of the way, we want to take this white black wire. So that's the stock S4 plug. We want to take that white and black wire. We're going to splice off that, and that's going to actually be the wire that we run to the new connector on the S6 alternator. That wire is the one that goes to the dash and drives your voltage number. Now the other wire here is switch 12 volt, and you don't want to use that wire. You want a constant 12 volt. Reason being, if you use the switch 12 volts, it's going to see 0 volts, and it's going to try to charge the alternator. The alternator is going to try to charge, which then it's going to basically create a draw on the battery. So probably not an issue if you drive it every day, but if you don't drive it every day, it would be a problem. So we're going to go ahead and run a new power wire right off the battery to that alternator so that it has constant 12 volt. And that actually does not indicate, that doesn't cause a draw. Then you have the stock post wire. I think we're going to use this. I mean, it's going like from 70 to 100 amps. I don't think using that stock wire is going to be an issue. I could be completely wrong, but I'd rather not have to just like run another loose wire back over. I'm already kind of trying to clean up or think of how I'm going to clean up the wiring that I've done for the fan setup and stuff. So okay, time to fill this sucker up. So I got some coolant. Let's see if we have any leaks. Okay, we've already done a gallon so far. No leaks. Knock on wood. We're gonna try to start this thing, see if we can get the coolant moving through it. See if all the wiring is okay and nothing melts, which would be a win in my book. So my wife's gonna hold the phone and film and hopefully not freak out. The kids are gonna wake up and start screaming and we won't be able to hear them and I won't be able to hear you. So, are you ready? Any sparks? Any smoke? You sure? Are you ready? This thing hasn't run in like how long? Weeks. Okay, we're gonna do it. I mean, I'm just idling here. It's still charging good. Everything's showing up good. It's getting a little bit of heat in it now. And now this fan, if I've wired it correctly, the fan is at the lowest possible setting. So at some point, I would expect the fan to kick on. I don't know where that is. But I'm gonna watch that temp gauge, let the motor just build some temp instead of going out and driving it. I can feel the heat in the coolant. So the coolant is getting there at this point. So I'm hoping shortly here with the operating temp. I'm seeing a little bit of smoke right here. I think it's just some coolant stuff. I mean, the radiator is pretty hot at this point. It's coming up on temp. I mean, I really would expect, I mean, that's hot to the touch. Okay, I got it working. I turned the adjuster counterclockwise to start off, like left to right thinking. You're supposed to turn it clockwise. So it did get kind of hot here. Running now, let it cool off. I just want to do this too really quick. The air itself is already cooling down here. Let that run for a little bit. Temp's already coming down. So that's pretty good. Like I said, we were getting pretty hot. You know, the radiator was hot to the touch, but I mean, it feels like it's pulling all that out. Probably what it is now is that it's not circulating the coolant. So it might be, you know, just cooling the radiator off. Gonna run it a little bit more, see if we can get that to come down by just circulating some coolant. Once again, it's very possible there's air in the system anyway, so might be a little bit of a challenge, but you know, you can only cool off so much when you're just running it on the radiator with no coolant flow. So April says the radiator is relatively cold at the moment. I mean, it's hot when she touches it, but I mean, it was hot before. So the weird part is, once again, you know, stock temp gauge has been pretty much in the same location. Your top hose has the heat in it. I can feel the heat. You know, the bottom hose down here, she's feeling pretty good, feeling pretty cool. All right, so here's the thing. I'm kind of tired of screwing with this. Honestly, I have no idea if I bled the system even remotely right. I have no idea if there's a leak potentially still. You know, even like, I don't know, it just, there's, at some point you just got to go. And I'm going to try this, see how it handles the heat of just driving. You know, there's some coolant down there, but I don't know if it's coming from the car or what. So I'm going to push this thing out and give it a shot. That might be a good sign. Looks like some of them traveled a little bit. And I mean, I don't have any. Oh no. There's a drip. One little drip though. I'm gonna go drive a little bit, just like normal, see if it'll cool down. I think it's cooling down on the fan right now, just sitting still, so that's good. I'm gonna back up a little bit, see if I see any coolant, but just take it for a drive for the rest of it. Okay, a little bit of driving so far, so good. Turn it up a little bit. Okay, we beat on it pretty good that time. Fan's still running. All this stuff's still good. Everything's still hooked up. Got a bit of heat in her now. I haven't driven this thing in so long. I mean, it's been consistent there, so I wonder if that's where the thermostat is. Everything seems fine so far. Nothing catastrophic. Still running. Just came up a huge hill under load the whole way. Temps are freaking perfect, so I'm happy with it. I think everything's working pretty good right now. I'll pull in and double check. Everything's looking good. Nothing coming out of it, so that's what we want. All right, guys, I'm gonna call it there on this one. Everything left at this point is cosmetic stuff, as well as the hood vent things, but we got a car meet to go to tomorrow, so we're gonna get it over there, have some fun with this unfinished hood and everything.